Hello, everyone, and welcome. And thank you for tuning into this conversation that I'm having right here with Shamik Mishra of Capgemini as we think together about how we can deliver more value to enterprise customers. As you're really, that's your focus, right? On this, the technology and business transformation for your customers.
Right. So we are a technology and a transformation partner for our customers. And we feel 5G is a very important enabler for this transformation because the world is connected now. Everything seems to be generating a lot of data. And if you look at any industrial process today, it's based on data. The decisions are made on data. And the data has to come from somewhere. And these are devices, processes, operations. They generate data, and somebody needs to transport this data to a place where decisions can be made. And private 5G is a perfect example of how we can have this data and the connectivity merge together and sort of convergence that brings this value to our customers.
So let's think a little bit about use cases for that one. Deploying a private network into a factory, for example, allowing that data, as you described so well, to flow. That takes a little bit of an effort between us, but where are we on that one right now? What are some of the use cases that you see on the factory floor?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the major use cases that we see is industrial automation. Today, industrial automation is more or less comes from one single vendor, right up from the devices, right up to the cloud and applications and everything. And more, this is evolving towards a multi-vendor model where you can bring in third-party applications, processing the data coming from a multitude of devices. Now, this can only be possible.
Sort of getting the data from those siloed
in places, into a common place.
Them,
Exactly. So there are two important things here. One, connecting those devices to the network.
Yeah.
Then the other part is that how do you collect the data, make it into a common data lake or a data model, and then innovate on top of that data so that you can make decisions of how to automate, when to automate, under what circumstances do you automate. All of that requires a significant data decision making, which, in my opinion, 5G can really make a difference.
Wonderful. And what are some of the examples, how the value could be measured from the enterprise who's deploying this?
Yeah, I mean, the one obvious thing is that an enterprise can bring in very different kinds of use cases today because they would have diversity in terms of data, platforms, applications, infrastructure. So they don't have to depend on one single stack. So they can utilize the best of breed, and they can actually do an interoperability across them because all of them might have a common connectivity parameter. So that's one major value because eventually automation is reducing cost of operations. It also means that with AI today, it is a new opportunity for the enterprises to innovate on new kind of use cases, which they may not be able to do today because the data isn't processed in that model, right?
So it could both be about reducing the downtime, the efficiency, but it could also be the potential upside of scaling with the new opportunities.
Exactly. And also I would say there are a lot of use cases that people start to identify once they have data in place. Because at times you can't realize what you can do
until you have that at your hands.
Exactly.
Talking about having the data at your fingertips, another one that we are working together on is, of course, driving the standardization around Camara and finding those network APIs that could then enable it to scale globally for different kinds of use cases. Fintech is one of those that we have been. Could you give a little bit of a perspective on that one?
Absolutely. The network APIs is a really game changer. It can be a big game changer because traditionally the telco industry, the CSPs, have not really quoted the developer ecosystems. So they have been more focused on building resilient, high available connectivity. But now they have to go beyond connectivity and provide more insights from the network, which a developer can actually consume. And we know how consumption of good connectivity what it can do. I mean, a few years ago, nobody thought that you could hail a taxi from
an app.
From an app, right? But the reliable connectivity enabled instant payments. You're able to track your taxi. So connectivity enables innovation. Connectivity enables new ideas, and network API would be just the next level of innovation there. Fintech is one great example because there is, if there is a SIM swap, there is fraud in the system. The operators are the only one who can actually detect something went wrong on the phone itself.
Yes.
And the
And
fintech
the
companies,
fraud detection must be a billion-dollar
billion-dollar
issue in the
industry,
fintech.
right?
Exactly.
Security. I mean,
Yeah.
and for them, if they can detect it right at the time when it's happening, even before it impacts the user, then that would be really
So the trust in the whole
the
system
trust in the whole system.
as well.
Yeah, and I strongly believe that people generally trust their service providers more. And if the service provider assures them that your system is well protected, I think the whole trust in the ecosystem, right from the app provider right down to the service provider, it will increase tremendously.
Thank you. So with that trust in the full stack of the ecosystem and labeling, leveraging what can be done with connectivity, with the cloud, with AI, and of course with the applications, with
Absolutely.
data at your fingertips to drive value for our enterprise customers. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
me here
Thank
today.
you, Cecilia.
It was a
Great.
pleasure.
An absolute pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.